It's time for Comic Corner Pandemic Edition. Yes, this is the latest pickup since my last video, and it includes a few extra bonuses simply because I wanted to help out the comic shop. You know, it's if you don't know about what's going on with the pandemic and comic shops, my comic shop hasn't been open. They've continued business in the sense that nobody's allowed in the shop, like in the store itself, but if you wanted something, like to pick up your comic books or whatever, give a call. You know, essentially, they posted their hours when somebody would be available. They call them once you're there, let them know what you're there to pick up. They will ring up your bill in the store. They will come down with the portable credit card machine, or if you're paying cash, tell them how much you're paying cash, and they'll do the thing, fully masked up and all that kind of stuff, and have everything already bagged and give it to you. Maybe even put it in your car for you if you wanted it that way, whatever. And you know, tap your credit card or debit card, or if you're paying cash, here's your cash, and do the change right away, and then you know, you can be on your way, which sounds like a great thing. Okay, that's awesome. They can continue doing business as usual, right? Well, no. A lot of people, obviously because of the pandemic, just aren't going out, and because of reduced incomes, aren't buying things like comic books and such. So there's those two factors which drastically have hit everybody, not just comic shops, but everybody. But on top of that, because a lot of businesses had to close down, that included the makers of comic books and the distributors of comic books. So not only were not new comics not being produced, but comics that were already slated and already there and stuff weren't getting distributed. Now that has started to ease off, both the, because of restrictions being lifted, certain restrictions being lifted, and ways of dealing with things coming about. The comic books are starting to flow, but they're trickling in, and because people can't just go into the store, he's still the same policy is still in effect. You come, you call, you get your books and all that kind of stuff. So you can't go in and just browse around. Though he has, I think now, because we are allowed to do that, he has opened it up to a couple of people being allowed in the store at a time. Like one or two people being in the store at a time. But that's not the same as like on New Comic Book Day, the place would be packed, right? Like, and a lot of people would pick up comics they wouldn't normally, just simply because they saw them. Were like, oh, I didn't know that title was out, or oh, that looks interesting, right? But he doesn't get that business really anymore, or isn't getting that business. And what he's having to do is he's having to reduce the amount of comic books he's actually ordering in. And so he's telling people, listen, if you're a regular comic book shopper and you want a title, add it to your pull list, because there's no guarantee I'm going to have it. He has to reduce his costs. And that's one of the only ways he can really reduce his costs, is not to buy as much. Because normally he would buy, say, if something like a popular thing like X-Men comics, right? He may have 40 people who get that particular comic every week, or whenever it's released. And so he might buy 60 of them and have 20 extras. So for other people, say, because I don't buy it normally, but if I go in and go, oh, I want the X-Men title, I could get the X-Men title, right? And then there's for other people who maybe their comic book store sold out, so they can come over and grab it from him. Or just people who are just coming in and checking out the store, or maybe buying something else, might say, hey, I know the X-Men, I'm gonna check out that comic. There's a lot of that. And it works out because the more you buy, the bigger discount you get off of, releases and stuff. And you do have to purchase a certain amount from the distributor to keep, stay in business or whatever, keep your thing. So there's a lot of that, but he's having to drastically reduce that. I don't know if he may up his quotient, like some of the more indie titles a little bit more to offset that. I don't know, but he's very, very, very aware of how much he sells of each title and how much he orders. So he's telling people literally, like, don't think there's going to be an extra copy of these things. Order them in advance. He sends out lists to everybody of what's coming up. So it's one of those things where he's just like, you know what? get on top of things, because I can't float you now. Like, I can't hope that you may want to buy these. I have to assume that you don't want to buy these and just not order them. So yeah, I ordered a few extra things that he had in stock. He did post some stuff, a bunch, because he has a lot of toys and statues and stuff like that. So he did do an online store where he put all these kind of things up, so I didn't know what he had. And so I did decide to pick up something from him as a result to help him out. And that was SH Monster Arts Godzilla 2014. Yes. This is the... I can't remember what this was. The film that came out in 2014, the North American film, right? Yeah, it was the first North American film was 2014. So that's who this is. This is the sculpt of him. So grabbed that. So that should help him out. Then I picked up, because I've never read them before, I picked up some Sandman trades. I picked up number 1, number 4, and number 5. So I think I need 2, 3, and maybe there's a 6th one. So this is the 30th anniversary edition release of number 1. And then this is the fully remastered edition of number 4. And the fully remastered edition of number 5. So yeah, my OCD is going to kind of kick in here, because if you look at these, their spines are different. Hate that, but I would have gotten them all, but he didn't have them all. So whatever. These are like, I don't know. With my discount, it works out. Let's say they start off at $30, and then I get a discount off of them. So yeah, this would have been like $100 almost of, and plus the other thing, $200 worth of stuff. But I get a discount because I'm a regular baller. So, but then what is this? Oh, okay, cool. So he put in the Marvel Free Previews 2020. That's cool. I can look through this. That's free. I don't buy a lot of this stuff. See, this is one of those things, like, I would get into Morbius, but because it ties into everything else, I don't buy the other stuff. I do like Morbius, though. Morbius is a cool character. Yeah, there's so many things that I would like to read, but I don't know. Part of the problem I find with a lot of the DC and Marvel things is they keep rebooting their series. So there's been so many number 1s coming out and such, and it's like, why do I want to get invested in one when you're just going to reboot it again? Really. But yeah, here's my slew of titles. My group of things. So, what do we got here? G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, number 269 and 270. We got the new G.I. Joe, number 4 and 5. And we got ElfQuest Stargazer's Hunt, number 1, number 2, number 3. So this is the new ElfQuest series. We've got new Vampironica, New Blood, number 2, and number 3. So Archie Horror Comics continuing on, and oddly enough, this one isn't listed under Archie Horror. It's listed under Archie Comics, and that's Archie versus Predator 2. So we got, I think, the full series: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, I'm not normally an Archie reader, but you know what? I do like these horror versions. So we got, I don't know what the hell this is. It's Blossoms 666. So this must be somebody from the Riverdale group. I think this is maybe the Rich rich family that lives in Riverdale. I don't know, but Blossom 666. 1, 2. Amazing how much of this is Archie. 3, 4, and 5. And then we got Archie Horror, Jughead the Hunger versus Vampironica. So now there's a versus going on. So we got number 1, number 2, number 3. I didn't expect this to all be Archie Horror, actually. Number 4 and number 5. It would literally, like, this is 99% Archie Horror titles plus some G.I. Joe and ElfQuest. That is hilarious. I had no... See, this is the one thing that's as great about doing it this way, where I only pick up from him, you know, once every few months. It does, obviously, cause a strain on him because he has to pay for this stuff up front and then doesn't get money for it, but at least he knows the sales there. But yeah, I never really know what I'm getting. Like when you're going in there week by week, you know your titles and then you pick up the other ones, and if you don't want something, you just sort of say, oh, I didn't want this, and you don't buy it. But with all this stuff, it's like I don't even know what I got. Like I paid him for this stuff. I hadn't even looked at it, right? But yeah, that's the thing with pull lists. I ask for certain things like Archie Horror. That's it. Like Archie Horror is what my pull is. So it's not like specifically Jughead, The Hunger, or Vampironica. It's all the Archie Horror titles. So when a title comes out like Blossom 666 that I didn't even know about, yeah, or Archie versus Predator 2, I think I knew about it. I think it may have, I don't know. Maybe I hinted and said, make sure that's going in my my pulls, right? But yeah, let me know. Comment down below what you think of any of these items, these pulls. Yeah, are you into the Archie Horror stuff? I guess is the big one this time. Maybe I will start doing some reviews of some of these series. Some of them are limited edition series, you know, 5, 6 issues, and some of I do believe some of the series that I've been buying have come to an end, so maybe I will talk about them. I don't know. Comic Corner may be changing because obviously I don't put out a lot of them and there aren't that many things coming in, so we'll see. Anyways, let me know what you think down below. Love to hear from you. Till next video, take care. Have a good one.